Hello, and I hope you're having a great day. Today I am making a pie crust. So this is one, it's actually from the Martha Stewart Pies and Tarts. I have lots of other pie crust recipes, but later I'm going to be making a blueberry pie, and it references this recipe, so I figure I'm going to give it a try. I made this recipe, I don't know, probably well over 20 years ago. I would say at some point in my life I've made it. But today, I'm just gonna try it out and see if it kind of matches up to some of the other recipes that I've been doing more recently. So I am doing this in a food processor. This makes making pie crust exceptionally easy. You don't have to sit there and break all this butter down into tiny little pieces and work it into the dough. You just pop it in here, whir it a few times, whiz it around, and then add some water. You push it into a little disc and you refrigerate it. So, at this point, I'm not too worried about over processing it because there's no water. So it's not gonna get too tough, but obviously I don't wanna make it, I want the texture to still have some bigger crumbles of the butter. I don't want it to be the texture of, say, cornmeal. You want it to have some larger pieces. So I'll probably just do that for a couple seconds more and be done. Okay, and then from there, oh, and I added, I'll include the recipe, but it's just flour, salt, sugar, the butter, and then it calls for 1/4 to 1/2 cup of ice water. I will say an important thing to note about ice water, when you're making something like this, it's not a matter of just putting ice in water. You want it to sit long enough that you're getting condensation. You want that water to actually chill the glass, and that's the point that you know that it's cold enough to really make a difference. I'm just going just shy of the 1/2 cup level. Let's see. One thing I don't like reaching. I don't know where my spoon for this is, but so you just want to mix it enough and put enough water in that when you squeeze it, you see it's kind of crumbly and falling apart, but when I squeeze it, it's turning into a nice dough. So that's perfect. And then from there, gonna get the blade out, pop it out onto the counter, fold it over a couple of times, and then I'll just wrap it. I'm gonna wrap it in 2 equal sized kind of discs or flat rounds, which sounds like an oxymoron, but just get this out. Now I will say, I don't make pie crust too often, so this one might not turn out perfect, but that's okay. Honestly, I'm just hungry for blueberry pie, and I'm sure it's gonna taste good. Anyway, right now we're still mid blueberry season, but getting close to the end. It's the middle of July here in central North Carolina. I'm gonna say, this doesn't seem like a ton of dough. So all I'm doing is kind of folding it on itself a little bit. I don't want to knead it and work it too much. But if I am working in flour, I like to do the fold kind of press method, because then as you're doing it, you're creating layers instead of smashing it all to oblivion. So, okay. So that's actually a pretty nice dough. Simple. I make another one that is so crumbly, and it makes a great pie crust for some things, but it is very hard to work with. So this one actually seems kind of nice. Just gonna grab a knife, eyeball the half portion. So 1/2 of this will be the bottom crust, of course, and the other half is the top. The reason you do want to keep them separate is because you're going to roll it out from this refrigerated disc, And that way you don't have to roll it and cut it. You can just roll it into the shape you need. And actually for the blueberry, they have you cut it into a ton of little leaves, which I remember doing that. I was probably 16 years old the last time I made that pie. So I'm gonna try and do that. All right, from here, I'm gonna use some plastic wrap. Wrap it up nice and tight so no air gets in there to make it all dry and weird. Okay, so here we have it. Simple as that. Pie crust made. I'm gonna put this in the fridge for about an hour. During that time, I'll wash the blueberries and make the filling, and I will do a separate video on making the actual pie. But thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.